Most owners think a wagging tail means a happy dog. Tail up, tail moving, all is well. It is probably the single most repeated piece of dog wisdom passed between humans, and it is incomplete in a way that matters. Because a wagging tail can mean your dog is happy, and it can also mean something almost opposite. And if you cannot tell the difference, you are misreading one of the most expressive things your dog's body does all day. That gap in reading is not a small thing. It shows up at the dog park, at the front door when a stranger arrives, in the veterinary waiting room, in the quiet moments at home, when your dog is telling you something precise and you are seeing only the movement and calling it joy. Once you understand what the tail is actually doing, not just whether it is moving, but how, where, and in what direction, you gain something close to a second language. 1. Your dog has been speaking to you since the day she arrived. You know the wags, the full-body helicopter wag when you come home, the slow, low, careful wag when something new enters the room, the stiff, high, rapid wag when another dog approaches at the fence. You felt the difference between them, even if you've never named it. By the end of this, you'll be able to name it, and you'll understand why the direction of the wag specifically tells you something about your dog that even most experienced owners have never been taught to read. The tail is not a mood indicator. It is a communication instrument. And like any instrument, what it produces depends entirely on how it is being played. Position, speed, direction, tension. These are 4 completely separate channels of information running simultaneously every time your dog's tail moves. Most owners read 1, movement, yes or no, wagging or still, but your dog is not sending 1 signal. She is sending 4 at the same time, and the combination of those 4 is what tells the full story. What makes the tail specifically so expressive? Why it carries more precise information than almost any other single part of your dog's body? That begins with what the tail is connected to, and it goes deeper than most people realize. The tail is an extension of the spine. Every major emotional state your dog experiences, fear, excitement, confidence, submission, conflict, joy, runs through her central nervous system and expresses itself, among other places, through the muscles at the base of her tail. She does not decide to position her tail a certain way. Her nervous system positions it for her, in direct response to what she is feeling before she has made any conscious choice about how to present herself. This is why the tail is one of the most reliable reads you have. It is largely involuntary. Your dog can choose not to bark. She can choose to approach something she is uncertain about. She can choose to hold her body still, but the tail, particularly its base position and its tension, is harder to manage consciously. It reflects the truth of her internal state in the way that very few other signals do. Behavioral observation of dogs across social contexts shows that tail position is one of the first cues other dogs use to assess emotional state at a distance, before they can smell each other. Before they can read facial expression, the tail position is already transmitting. Your dog has been reading other dogs this way her entire life, and she has been sending the same signals to you. What most owners never learn is that not all wags are equal, and one specific dimension of the wag encodes something about your dog that changes how every interaction reads. Most owners spend their whole relationship with their dog never knowing it exists. Speed tells you arousal. A fast wag means high activation. The nervous system is engaged, whatever is happening matters a great deal. A slow wag means lower arousal, thoughtful, cautious, not yet decided. A dog wagging slowly at something new is not relaxed. She is measuring. Position tells you confidence. A tail carried high, above the line of the back, signals a dog whose nervous system is in a dominant, alert, forward-leaning state. Not necessarily aggressive, but activated and sure of itself. A tail held low or tucked signals the opposite, a nervous system pulling inward, deferring, uncertain. A tail held at the natural mid-height resting position is a dog in a neutral, comfortable state, neither performing confidence nor retreating from the world. Tension tells you readiness. A loose, flowing wag, the kind that moves the whole back end, belongs to a dog whose body is not braced for anything. A stiff, held wag, even if it is moving rapidly, belongs to a dog whose muscles are engaged, whose body is ready to respond. The stiff, high wag that owners sometimes mistake for excitement is one of the most important misreads in dog behavior. That is not a happy tail. That is a loaded one. This is the piece most owners miss entirely. And then there is the dimension that is invisible unless you know to look for it. The one that requires watching the wag from behind rather than the side. And that tells you something about your dog's emotional state that she herself cannot fake. Behavioral research into canine lateralization has found that dogs wag with a bias toward the right side of their body when experiencing positive, approach-oriented emotions, and with a bias toward the left side when experiencing negative, withdrawal-oriented emotions. The direction of the wag is not random. It reflects which hemisphere of the brain is more active in that moment. A right-biased wag when she sees you means something genuinely different from a left-biased wag when an unfamiliar dog approaches. Same movement, different brain, different message entirely. What that means for how you read every wag you will ever see again. That reframes everything. Most owners think reading a tail is about watching the tail as the subject, the owner as the observer, the dog producing a signal, and the owner deciding what it means in isolation. Flip that. Your dog's tail is not performing for you. It is responding to you, and to everything else in the environment, in real time, with information that updates every few seconds as her emotional state shifts. Reading it correctly means reading it in context, in motion, in combination with every other thing her body is doing simultaneously. A high, stiff, rapid wag with hard eyes and a forward-leaning body is not the same message as a high, loose, rapid wag with soft eyes and a body weight shifting toward you. One is a dog on the edge of a decision. One is a dog who has already made it, and the decision is joy. The tail is the same speed and the same height. Everything else is different. Your dog has been giving you this much information, this precisely every single day. The tail was never a simple signal. It was always a full sentence. Position and speed and tension and direction, running together, updating in real time, aimed at a world that includes you specifically. Think about the wags you know best. The one that moves her entire back half when you reach for her leash. The careful, low, slow wag when something unfamiliar enters the house and she has not decided about it yet. The stiff, high flag of a tail when another dog appears at the fence. The loose, mid-height, unhurried wag she produces when you have been sitting quietly together for a long time and she looks at you for no reason. That last one, the unprompted wag at nothing, at you, sitting still, doing nothing remarkable. That is not a wag produced by excitement or by the anticipation of something good about to happen. That is a dog whose nervous system, in a moment of complete ordinary quiet, defaulted to a signal that means, I am glad to be here. I am glad it is you. Nothing needs to happen for this to be enough. She has been saying that to you in a language made of muscle and movement and the involuntary truth of a nervous system that cannot lie. The tail was never just wagging, it was always talking, and it has been talking about you. Specifically, consistently, in more detail than you knew to listen for, every single day you have spent together. What wag do you know best on your dog? And have you ever caught one that felt like it meant something specific, even before you knew what to look for? Tell me in the comments. If this is the kind of watching you want to keep doing, subscribing means the next one finds you.